So you know the ending.
We have an ending right now. Obviously, we're 9 months away from that. Things could change, but we have, yes, we've all kind of signed off on an ending. And Jared and I flew out to LA about a month ago, about a month and a half ago, and sat down in the writer's room, which we've never done in 15 years, and said, okay, how are we going to do this? And they knew we were coming. They were prepared. They had all the writers in there, and they gave a full pitch to Jared and I. And it was heavy. It was emotional.
Sure.
And it will be emotional. And Jared seems to think, he's like, you can't please everybody. Not everybody's gonna like it. I don't know. I think I'd be hard pressed to see if somebody was just like, no, that sucked.
So you guys truly had a hand in this ending.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And that was what we wanted to do. We didn't want to just be like, oh, I don't care. It's been 15 years,
It's so important to
It's so important to us, and we really truly care about these characters and about the story, and they've been a part of our lives for 15 years now, and it just I'm very protective of Dean, and I will always be. Like Jared said on the panel, these characters are a part of us and will always be a part of us.
Is it pretty incredible to you that you actually gained a brother in real life through this show? I mean, you guys are extremely close friends, and a wife for the show, and kids. Yeah.
A lot of it hadn't. I don't want to say it hadn't sunk in. We still are flying back to Vancouver tonight to film for 9 months, so I'm not reflecting just yet. Partially because I don't want to start crying again like I did on stage. Yeah, it's pretty incredible, and it's really funny. We were going to go downtown last night. Jensen and I golfed with Bob and had dinner with Bob and Eugenie, and we were going to head downtown and go to some events, see some buddies who were texting and stuff. And he and I just decided to sit on his patio of his hotel room and have a drink and kind of decompress and relax and talk about how crazy the experience has been. It was really special. He's been around for births and deaths in my life, and vice versa. Triumphs and losses. And he's not the only one. Obviously, it's been he and I for the longest. But I've met a lot of people that have changed my life and will remain in my life. It's really special.
How did you start discussions about ending the show with Jared, with Bob Singer? How did that come about?
Those discussions probably started happening about 2 years ago, and it wasn't like. It wasn't necessarily how, it was when. Jared's a father of three. I'm a father of three. We've got young ones at home. We've got when we started the show, we were young, single, and now we're both married, 3 children. And I think it was just getting to a point where we were getting pulled, and it was getting heavy with wanting to be able to concentrate and focus on our job, but then also trying to be a present figure at home. And so I think we started having those conversations of we should do it before the product suffers. We should do it before before it gets hard to tell the story, before the characters become too elusive from us and the show goes downhill. He and I were like, yeah, I don't want to be there when the car runs out of gas. And so that kind of started the conversation with each other, with other people, and it just kind of was all roads kind of pointed to let's go out on top and let's do it in season 15.
For a long time, you were saying you wanted Fortune Sundance ending.
Yeah.
Lately, you've been saying more open ending. A little bit. How are you feeling about the ending now that you know what it is?
To be honest, it was I had trouble digesting it, and it took me a while to kind of understand, and it didn't come to me on my own. I made a few phone calls to some folks to get their opinion and ask them why am I tripping over this, and I realized I'm just too close to it. I'm too close to these guys. I'm too close to the story, and for any sense of finality to that, I wasn't willing to accept it. I've now gotten some clarity on why this is a great way to go, and that's given me a lot of comfort.
Thank you.
So yeah.
Thanks a lot. Talked in the past about wanting Butch and Sundance.
Yes.
Lately, you've been saying, "Oh, a little more open-ended is good." Yeah. You now know the end of the show. How do you feel about it?
How do you know I know the end?
Because you said it in Dallas. Paying attention.
That's why I got to stop talking.
Paying attention.
Now that I know the ending, to clarify about the Butch and Sundance type ending, I think the subtext to that was that I wanted peace for Sam and Dean, whether it was alive or dead. I didn't want them to be ghosts in the veil, or locked up in hell, or even drugged in heaven, or not drugged, but you know what I mean, and living a fake life of all their best memories in heaven. I want to just carry on my wayward son. There will be peace when you are done. Whatever done means, I wanted them to be done more than dead. I'm not saying whether or not they are simply done or dead in the end. I feel like, as the end currently stands, they have found a version of peace. And that makes me happy. Also, I believe in 14 years, the final episode that was written, or, Exploding Doc, in the head of whoever was running the show, whether it was Eric or Sarah or Jeremy or Andrew and Bob. I feel like the final episode of the season has never been what they thought it was going to be. Episode 1 of the season. I know that Genevieve was supposed to be in like 4 episodes, and she ended up getting killed by Dean. You know what I mean? So I think that's one example. But I feel like it's never been. I'm very pleased with the current ending. I'm also. It's a coin toss on whether or not that becomes the actual end. You know what I mean? So this early on, I haven't even filmed yet, so we still have a long way to go.
How quickly did you come to a consensus that this is the right time to end the show?
It was a conversation, and I think it's been said, so I'll man up and admit to it. It was, and it sounds arrogant, but it was Jensen and my choice, decision. We were walking back, and I think Mark Pedowitz said that and he wasn't. I'm trying to say Mark Pedowitz wasn't lying when he said the show will go as long as Jared and Jensen wanted to go, and he allowed us to find out or come to our consensus. It took a long time, years. We've been talking about it. It's such a weird thing to say because, especially as an actor, you're like hoping for an audition, to hope for the 1 in 100 chance to get a call back, to hope that somebody thinks you did a decent job, to hope for a job for 3 days.
We're on the clock, man.
We're on the clock, man.
You're getting gold here. Come on. Somebody's going to listen to the words.
It's a recorder. Now you know what it's like to pick up your own set. It was a long, we talked about it for a long time. It was a very weird transition to basically beg for a job for years and years and years, to pray to Chuck that it gets picked up for years and years and years, and then get to a place where they're now saying to you, like, hey, you want to do some more? I never thought I'd be given this responsibility. I don't know how I feel about that. It took a long time. And I think sometime, I honestly think it was sometime season 13 where Jensen and I kind of sort of went like, too many. I think, and he can correct me. And there's, it's really weird this is maybe a bad analogy, but I had to put down a dog that I've had she was going to turn 16 in March, and I had to put her down in January. It was a different situation because she was blind and deaf. Like, I'm not saying like, well, now Supernatural's blind and deaf and pooping itself in its sleep. Like that's not the same. I feel like Supernatural is still strong, but Sadie, my girl, she was still alive. Like she was still living. She just couldn't hold her faculties, and she couldn't walk, and she couldn't hear, and she couldn't see. But she was like, we took her to the vet, and the vet would be like, she's really feeling well. Like she is not unhealthy, so it was a weird. And then it kind of, she deteriorated. Supernatural's not deteriorating, I guess is the difference. But it came to the point of like, okay, I think this is the right time. Like it's a weird decision. And then I'm gonna sell them out. When Jensen got to Vancouver 2 weeks ago, I have a text message from him. He's like, man, crazy being back in Vancouver. I feel like we could do 2 more years. I was like, let's talk, man. Like,
we're there for you, believe me.
Yeah.
I just don't want it to be. I don't want it to be like Lord of the Rings that had like 15 endings. Yeah. I think it's really difficult. It's really difficult. But I do feel like I'm gonna get back on set and be like, why are we not coming back here? But it's a good long time.
Any chance that we will see Genevieve next season?
Any chance? Yes. It's not. She's not yet in the. I mean, I'm going to be really brutally honest here. I want. No. I'm not. I mean, I'm not divulging any information I'm not legally allowed to, because they haven't been written. She doesn't have an episode or anything yet. But Jen and I are like, we gotta have Tom and Shep and Odette on the show. They have to be like sitting like in some way, shape, or form. I just like, even if they're sitting in a diner somewhere or something. I really want them to
the children.
Like a kid's birthday party and have literally all of them.
Yeah, even way in the background or something.
Yeah.
My dad played my dad on Gilmore Girls in one scene because they were visiting. My brother and his wife were in the background of Hookman. Tom's baby picture was actually in an episode of Supernatural. Where it was like a demon child or something. I was like, can I be my son's picture? And they're like, do you want to be your son's picture? I was like, yeah. I mean, it doesn't look like Tom. It was a baby. But yes, there is a possibility, and I'm really trying to make it happen in some way, shape, or form.